We're gonna learn nothing. This is ridiculous. Ye of little faith. What you missed in the background was I streamed multiple times to unlisted links until this one, which was also started off as an unlisted link, and then I made it public once I determined it was in fact achieving what I thought it needed to be achieving. So what have I learned? I've learned that the bit rate was fine where it was at, and I needed to change the keyframe interval. On Twitch, we should be on Twitch as well. That's the important part, is that we're streaming to all three. In fact, believe me, if I could, I would stream to 4. But I've been so busy, I haven't even built and I'm not even gonna say it. I'm gonna keep it quiet, just in case someone feels saucy. Play a vid, settle down, I'm getting to it. With the demands over here. You know, I just thought it would be hilarious. But there's no way of verifying it at the end, which sucks. It's a good idea while it lasted. Moanope is right. We do get more subs from shorts. From what I can tell. Statistically. Best frame rate so far. It's the same. It's on the same frame rate. It's just the frame rate that you're getting. I can see it every time. It looks perfect to me, but it's on YouTube that it looks terrible. I do not like live shorts. You know, it's not for everyone. I don't blame anybody who doesn't like it. I'm an old YouTube hat. What I was thinking to myself is, I feel like it'd be hilarious to turn this into a game and like guess who people are voting for. There's no way to verify who they actually do vote for, but I just feel like it would be funny to turn it into some sort of a game. Yeah, I mean, the live shorts get a ton of views. I don't know what it is about the shorts. The algorithm's different, right? And the way that the thing, like, functions, right? Like, the way you watch shorts, the way you scroll through shorts is different. I think that's part of why it's easier. You think the algorithm is the same? I'm not sure it is. I know you say that, but from what I can tell, there's some sort of difference there. I don't know what. Yep, it's buffering. I see it. I have no idea why. I just realized there's something weird's going on. Oh. We don't need that open. Yeah, you know what? Honestly, the more I notice it, it feels like, to some degree, like I mean, there's no real clarity on what. Like I notice lag spikes at random times. It just, you know, it's not clear. It's not clear what's gonna stop it. I'm gonna keep trying, but I'm also, you know, I can't just focus on that. And the fact is, we've seen it just solve itself multiple times midstream. It's not always clear what the source of the lag is. You know, I can do what I can to try and improve on it every stream, but it's a process. It's a process. And the fact is, I'm doing a lot of stuff differently than other people. I'm creating a whole world rather than just taking a camera and a browser window or a video clip. Every one of these scenes have so many things on them. Even if you can't see them, they're there. The files are there, waiting or actively loading. You should do a ceremonial rain dance. Could help. We could get superstitious with it. I don't see why not. YouTube is dying. All the vids look like crap. Could be. Oh, you know what I'm going to do, though? I just realized I'm on live. I'm going to pull this back. Maybe that'll help. I just realized I'm on a live stream. Probably not helping. Yeah, I know. I see that it's freezing. Is it the same? This is what I want. This was working perfectly fine. This. Let's find out. Audio. Alright, stop. What is going on here? Oh, so that's pretty terrible. Although it seems to be getting more frames than the other one, which just doesn't even make sense. Doesn't even make sense. They're literally the same. Like, these two videos are the same length. I would argue there's probably more data on this video than the other one. But it's somehow running better. Not great, but like, I don't know, what, 25% better right now? What's the reasoning for that? Now it's running 80% better. Holy shit. Look at it. What is it? What is it? What? Literally, there is no good explanation for that. There is zero good explanation for that. I can tell you that right now. How? How is this possible? Why is this working fine? A high fidelity audio file. This is insane. Like they have. Now let's go back here. Let's see if this works. Let's find out. I mean, this is fascinating. Data is not calls on CPU/GPU. Calls? When did I say calls? Get you on voice? Get me on voice. Why don't you just DM me on Discord or something? you did DM me. My phone is on a charger, so I didn't see or hear you DM me because I have my headphones on. Well, that was rude of me.
How rude.
Okay, what are you trying to say? Why look at it, this is now now this is running fine.
I feel like I'm taking crazy pills.
Oh my god, and now this one's running fine. Okay. Right. You think I should end Shorts chat and no Twitch. But it will definitely run fine if I do that. That's almost a guarantee. I mean, we certainly can do that. I mean, by all means, if you think you've got a plan for us here, fine. It will require me to end the stream. And then restart the stream. Right? But like, I don't even want to end the stream until I see it stop working. And right now it's working. Like, I don't understand why it's like, it's just working now. Right? Like, it's perfectly smooth now. Like, this is essentially where I would like it to be at. Right? It's not necessarily perfect. Mitty has been saying this for hours. This has been saying that I should end the other streams, but the fact is we had, like, for I don't know how long, we had things working really smooth with just the one stream, right? And as we've been adding on more streams, it has been, of course, been getting more complicated, right? We're not streaming, like, but yeah, the multi-stream, right? It's become worse, right? And we're trying to tweak it so that we can have all three running at the same time. If we just do YouTube flat, it will definitely work. Like, that's not a, in my mind, that's not a question. Midi. To unpack it. Yeah. There's also some other stuff that's happening, right? Where, like, in terms of, like, on, like, at the pool, where there's about 20 plus GIFs that have to load all at once the second I click the scene. So stuff like that's also, you know. Yeah. Yeah. And I've been trying to find ways to get around some of those things by, like, you know, doing, like, recording those GIFs into one GIF in some scenes, which has been actually helping in some places, but like I said, it's like a process, and I've been having to, you know, one by one do all these sorts of things on my own, figure out where I can cut down on those traffic jams on the inside of the software, because there obviously there's like yeah. Well, one thing I've been meaning to do is resize the yeah, I'm just using one computer. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Right. Right. One thing I've been realizing about the TV screen, the one that we're looking at right now, which is actually running pretty smooth, but the one thing I've noticed about it is, I've been thinking about, is the 20 emotional support character files, and some of them are massive files. They're just utterly massive. And I've been considering resizing some of those down to cut down, but yeah, like we're clicking back and forth between turning them on and off to do this mid-stream, and I think that might be one of the things that's wait, who? What do you mean? Who restreams it? I'm doing it all through Streamlabs. I'm splitting it through Streamlabs. They have their own software interface that does it. Yeah. Yeah, but the part of the problem with the tweaking is that Twitch has certain specifications for bandwidth, and then YouTube has certain specifications for bandwidth for flat, and then certain specifications for bandwidth for vertical. And so trying to get it in those margins and also meeting the specifications of my upload bandwidth and all these other things that we got going on, it can be, you know. Why does I think because it doesn't have to try and split the stream at all, right? And it's just it goes to the one known expected bandwidth for YouTube, right? Because they have like a parameter. Yeah. The fact is, you should see what it looks like on, like, I mean, I'll send you a picture of what it looks like, because it's wild. I mean, I'm looking at two different. I mean, it's not just a sort of a zoomed in version of it. It's a completely different set. Think of it as a completely different set that's being run simultaneously, right? And is being pumped out, and then the horizontal one's being pumped out to do different streams, right? That's part of the problem is we're running with, like, we have an entire what do you want to call it? A haystack of problems, okay, to try to fix all at once. It would be easy if it was just one. Yeah, it doesn't make it, right? I made it. Like, I had to set it all up. And because each one of mine is pieces right, piecemeal and sort of, you know, put together by me, right? It's I need to get on. I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna log on to Discord and send you a message on the computer. I'm on my phone right now. It's just much easier to deal with that. I want to let me screenshot this right now. Could be a day. Fine. That's not respond. That's random. Okay. Wish I could see the full screen. You could see what I'm talking about more depth. But computer's not working. It's just a duplicate of it, right? They're the same source. It's just been duplicated over of just that one piece, right? Like the live stream that we're looking at right now of people voting. That's one piece, right? And that gets sent over. And you can see it like on Shorts. If you look at the messages I sent you with the DM, you can see it, whereas on the top, right, and on the left, they can be. They don't have to be. It's set up so that you can edit each one. You can use the bottom. If you look in the middle, sources, that's the master. So that would edit both of them. I could go back and forth, and that's how it's set up, right? Like I've had to. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. No, that's already happening. That's already happening. That's going to happen automatically because they're coming from the same source. I know. It's weird. And it doesn't even happen the same way every stream. Sometimes sometimes the vertical is behind, sometimes the head. It seems to be based on completely. Wait, hold on one second. Huh. Shit, just knock that over. You can feel a ban incoming. Who's getting banned? I don't see. Where's the ban coming from? I feel weird because nobody seems to be able to hear me, but my microphone is definitely on. Actually, wait, how far back is this? Actually, I take it back. You all might be like 3 minutes behind. Now that I'm looking at where you are at, oh my god. Wow, we're in completely different. You're not even at Pittsburgh yet. Never mind. Actually, wait, no, you are in Pittsburgh. You're a different location. Wait, you can hear me? Wow. So everyone was just ignoring me this whole time. Rude.
How rude.
Live view of the White House.
For the very soul of our nation, we have seen what can be, unburdened by what has been. To see what can be, unburdened by what has been. What can be. Unburdened by what has been. To see what can be. Unburdened by what has been. Unburdened by what has been. And knowing what can be. What we know can be. Unburdened by what has been. What can be. Unburdened by what has been. An America that we know can be. Saw what would be. Unburdened by what has been. Is the ability to see what can be. Unburdened by what has been, to see what is possible and what can be, unburdened by what has been and who has done what. Always believe in what can be, unburdened by what has been. That is what I want for you. Is to see what can be, unburdened by what has been.
What's the vibe on the streets? What is the vibe on the streets? Let's find out. I'm muted?
What has been to see what is possible and what can be unburdened by what has been. To see what can be unburdened by what has been. We see what can be unburdened by what has been. The ability to see what can be.
Hold on.
Unburdened by what has been.
And the early state results yet? Not that I know of, but they will probably start coming in soon.
Can be unburdened by what has been. We see what can be unburdened by what has been. To see what can be unburdened by what has been. The ability to see what can be unburdened by what has been. The pursuit of what can be unburdened by what has been. You gotta be able to see what can be unburdened by what has been. You all have the ability to see what can be unburdened by what has been. To see what can be unburdened by what has been. We see what can be unburdened by what has been. To see America as it can be unburdened by what has been.
Is it muted? I don't think it is. If it is, that's not good. Not what we want. You thought I was muted? I'm sorry. No, I'm just... I was zoned out for 2 seconds. It's muted for you? Is everybody caught up with the stream, or are you behind the stream, perhaps? Have you looked recently to see if you're live on the stream currently? Oh god, wait, is it lagging on this screen right now? I bet I know why. I think I know exactly why it's happening. There's gotta be a way to fix that, though. Didn't I have another one queued up? I could have sworn I did. What was I? What was I looking for? Yes. Huh. Polls always finish 10 p.m. in the UK. I think that's, isn't that like now, right now? You're like 5 hours ahead, aren't you? I think so. Alright, let's see what's going on here at NBC, I guess? Yeah. Yeah, let's go to NBC. Election Day playlist. Come on.
Talking to people about this exact issue, inflation. You know what you hear about again and again? The cost of burger meat, the cost of milk and eggs, and the cost of a gallon of gas, right? Because even as these macro numbers, as we've talked about, are adjusting, people...
We're getting some numbers here, it looks like. Hold on. All right, let's see. You don't think the USA is a democratic country?
Out of him. I think certainly sometimes at the podium he makes comments that are not helpful to him. They're not helpful to the country. And when he does that, you know, he risks those kind of few remaining undecided voters that are paying attention. So it's a little bit of a, I mean, I think.
Okay, so this was a while ago. This is like 20 minutes ago.
Mark, so many Republicans with whom
Early
I speak
voting
say that they're
count.
surprised, actually, that Nikki Haley hasn't been out on the campaign.
That we make too much of the economy. And as long as I've been in politics,
Even though it's the number one.
it's always the number one issue, right? I work
from 2020. And the second thing is, what is the percentage among African-American men for Donald Trump? In some of those high black counties in North Carolina and Georgia, does he outperform certainly what he did in 2020, but even maybe some of the polling? And if those things happen, that will be a very good night for the former president.
And conversely, does she underperform?
Sure. And yes.
Because they've spent so much time trying to energize African-American male voters in particular. We saw that with former President Obama. Cornell, will you be watching for that, and what else?
This black males breaking for Donald Trump is the red wave of 2024. It's absurd, and we'll come back and we'll have this conversation at the next poll. What I'll be watching for is turnout. Again, it's all about turnout. If you tell me at the end of the night is Milwaukee, 3 or 4 points behind the overall state, or is it 10 points behind the overall state? If it's 10 points behind the overall state, she's going to lose Wisconsin. If it's 2 or 3 points behind the overall state, because again, urban areas
Soon, first exit
Wisconsin.
poll data to be released.
This department waging a legal battle with some red states.
But we're going to do our job, monitor whether federal laws.
Any moment, we're going to bring this to you live. And again, this is our first check.
More than it benefits Harris, even though traditionally, and this has all been since the Trump era, Trump does a good job at getting sort of non-traditional voters to the polls. It's why we've seen his party do so poorly when his name is not on the ballot.
There's two storylines that I'm looking at here, and you've mentioned both of them obliquely here, Chuck. One is this issue we're talking about, these low propensity voters.
Right.
And in my conversation with Trump campaign officials and advisors, just even in the last few hours here, they're feeling pretty good about getting those low propensity voters. In plain English, all that means is people who don't tend to vote a ton.
Don't typically
That's right.
vote. That's
they
right.
feel good about getting them out. The other big thing, of course, is the gender gap. And I want to say
Election
we finally
alert.
do have these numbers in now on the most important issue. Look at that in bright pink there. 36.
Why is this an election alert? Don't tell us what the most important issues are. Tell us what's happening with the votes. Get there.
Democracy, it largely focused on abortion access.
Or a moderate hardship. This is a big number here. People who feel it.
75. 74,
that's a big percentage of people who are voting saying that inflation is something that is still top of mind in their family.
I would just tell you, having recently been in a couple of key battlegrounds in Pennsylvania, in Erie County, in North Carolina, in New Hanover County, talking to people about this exact issue, inflation. You know what you hear about again and again? The cost of burger meat, the cost of milk and eggs, and the cost of a gallon of gas, right? Because even as these macro numbers, as we've talked about, are adjusting, people still feel like every time they go to the grocery store, they're spending a ton.
And that's almost more important, right, Christine? Because it's not the number, it's not the percentage of where inflation is. It's how
Sounds like people
Absolutely. And when you look at
want
grocery prices, for
price
example,
caps.
22% compared with
Is that
4
what they're
years
saying?
ago.
People
but
want
the wages are up 20%. Just
like
looking
rent-
at wages alone, you're
like
like, that's
rent,
great. 20% bigger
caps
paycheck
and things
than
like
4
that.
years ago. When the grocery bill is 22% more, that is a reminder every week or every 10 days for families that things aren't the same as they were the last time they were voting.
Christine, I'm going to let you get back to crunching the numbers. Chuck Todd next to us is already crunching more of the numbers. The campaigns are looking at this stuff too. So I want to get to Peter Alexander and Garrett Haake, both of our correspondents covering both the Harris and the Trump campaigns. We're just getting in, Garrett and Peter, what we call fave unfaves. In other words, the favorability ratings for each of these candidates. And let's start with former President Trump. We're going to pull that up here. And you can see he is what they say underwater, essentially. 54% of voters in these early exit polls have an unfavorable opinion of the former president. Garrett, as you well know, though, the strategy for the Trump team has long been supercharge the base, get that 44% who do see him favorably to actually show up and vote either today or during early voting.
Yeah, that's right, Hallie. And I remember a briefing with Trump campaign officials several months ago now in which they said by the time this race is over, both of these candidates will be unpopular. And that's broadly true. Kamala Harris underwater as well in these polls, but not quite as badly. And I think that's going to be part of the challenge for the Trump campaign as we look at these early exit polls, which I should caution that the campaign was telling us sort of all week not to overinterpret them. And I think that's a worthy acknowledgement to make here. But they also wanted to use President Biden as an anchor around Kamala Harris's neck and essentially hope that Biden's unfavorability would drag down Kamala Harris. And the delta
It sounds a bit copium already, you think?
unpopular than Kamala Harris is right now is the kind of thing that I think would be a
Well, I
warning
guess
sign
we'll
to the
see what
Trump campaign
happens.
about that messaging not being as effective as they'd like.
Garrett Haig, thank you very much, live for us down there in South Florida. Appreciate it.
All right, let's move over to my friend Peter Alexander. And Peter, let's take a look at the favorability for the vice president. Here it is. This is the first time we're seeing this. What we have here, the opinion of Kamala Harris, unfavorable 50%. Favorable 48%, unfavorable 50, favorable 48%. Her unfavorable slightly lower than what former President Trump's was. Peter, talk to me about how the Harris campaign is feeling. I know you've been reporting all day about sort of their momentum and sort of maybe a changing of mood. They were feeling a bit more positive today.
Yeah, not just positive today. They've been feeling increasingly confident over the course of the last several days. Let's look at that favorability number, though, for a moment. And Kamala Harris, she performs better than both Donald Trump and Joe Biden. 4 points ahead of Donald Trump, 7
Does
points
Trump have a
ahead
vote?
of Joe Biden. One of the
Trump
concerns
early
about Donald Trump
voted.
had been that there was some sort of an evaporation
Before he
of
was
memory
convicted,
gap,
I
where
think.
Americans forgot the way they felt about Trump at the end of his term. Right now, his number's coming down. Her number is particularly high.
I recall
in their view
correctly.
Right now, and higher
Although-
than the man with whom she served, Joe Biden. So that's something they're feeling, I think, good
Huh,
about
it's hard
this
to-
evening. One
it's
other
hard to
data point
remember
we'll share. We just
exactly
heard from a
when that
senior
happened.
campaign advisor. They're seeing some new information coming out of Pennsylvania. Obviously, the crucial
Was
battleground, the
before
biggest
he
prize
was
of the
convicted?
swing
Wasn't he
states with
convicted over
19
the summer?
electoral votes among Puerto Rican voters in the 3 wards with the largest Puerto
Now
Rican
I'm confused.
populations.
Now
As
I'm
of
confused
midday
myself.
Today, the numbers were already at 79% of turnout in 2020.
Just sort of
which
tied
is
myself
insane.
into knots with this
Puerto
one.
Rican voters are turning up in big numbers, particularly notable as it comes only about a week and a half after those offensive comments by the comedian who led off for former President Trump at the Madison Square Garden event just a couple of weeks ago.
All right, Peter Alexander for us. Peter, we appreciate all that.
I'm going to hear at the big board, Tom, because
You
I
know
want to
it.
talk through the road to 270, which is what you are going to be watching tonight.
This has been my best friend for the last 2 or 3 months
Oh,
here.
sweet.
We've just
We love that.
we've gotten to know each other.
Tell me about
Again, the road to 270. We're going to start
Your
tonight,
best
election
friend?
night, where we left off in 2020.
Makes me sad.
Except those 7
Sad.
battleground states you see here are not colored in. Remember, President Biden won 6 of those 7 battlegrounds. So let's talk about Kamala Harris and her easiest path. Her easiest path tonight, if she holds that blue wall, Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin. Hallie, you see the electoral votes
That's
there?
right.
270, that gets her right to the White House. But if she were to have a terrible night tonight and the blue wall were to collapse and Trump were to win all this, she has another path. Nevada, Arizona, hold Georgia, and flip North Carolina. She gets to 275 there. Again, if this is the night for Democrats, Hallie, as you know, they'd be having heart attacks all night, but she can still get there with that path.
Talk about, then, former President Trump's clearest and cleanest path to 270.
The easiest way to remember this, Hallie, for President Trump when you're watching election night tonight, if he kicks it East Coast style.
Hold on, we're gonna switch it. We're gonna switch it.
Are you for or against gay marriage?
I'm against.
Is there a reason why?
Well, it's not biblical. I mean, I
It's
believe
not
what the Bible
biblical.
Leviticus 20:13, if a man lays with a man as he lays with a woman, surely he should be put to death. I have a question. Have you ever eaten shrimp before? Are you for or against gay marriage?
I'm against.
Is there a reason why?
Well, it's not biblical. I mean, I believe in what the Bible says.
Leviticus 20:13, if a man lays with a man as he lays with a woman, surely he should be put to death. I have a question. Have you ever eaten shrimp before?
But no, what?
Have you eaten shrimp before?
Yeah.
Do you think we should outlaw eating shrimp?
No.
Because in Leviticus it says not to eat shrimp.
I didn't read that.
Okay. It's in the Bible.
I didn't read it.
Have you ever eaten pork before?
Of course.
Do you think we should outlaw eating pork?
No.
It's in the Bible that you can't eat pork, though.
I didn't read it that way.
This girl's like, oh my god, quit being so. Do you see her face? First she looks back, you can see that she's like, first she looks disgusted by him for asking questions, then she looks back, she's like, wait, is that true? Is it true in Leviticus it says you're not allowed to eat pork? That can't be true. We ate pork chops last night, Ma.
It's in the Bible that you can't eat pork, though.
I didn't read it that way.
Should we outlaw gay marriage?
And then I love how she goes from that to being very, she's like the sort of look where it's like, oh, quit being so weird. Quit being so weird about it. It's like, that's literally the point, right? Is that this guy here, and I assume the rest of you are pretty weird about some other Bible stuff. Oh, God. It's a pretty boring book. It's true. It's so true.
Need you to pray.
Moa Nope is right.
Real hard for Trump and Vance. You pray real hard.
You're big into the unity of this country.
Yes. We've been split long enough. We need to come together as a nation.
But is the Confederate flag the thing to put out there?
We need to come together as a nation.
The Confederate flag is a Southern heritage. And everything that's being divided and taken away from us, our Southern heritage, no, I stand against that. But it has nothing to do.
His Southern heritage of being divided is being divided. What you don't understand is that his division is being taken away through this division. It's a double division, and it's unacceptable.
Racism.
But people think of it because, it represents slavery and then anti-slavery. Do you understand why people might think that?
What about people that don't understand the swastika? Yeah, the swastika.
He really meant it. He said it the same way again. The swastika. Someone spell that for me in chat, please.
Slavery and then anti-slavery. Do you understand why people might think that?
What about people that don't understand the swastika?
Can you tell me about it?
Yeah, the swastika is a sign of peace. Hitler took it in 1935 when he became chancellor. He took it and turned it into evil.
But do you want people wearing a swastika around?
I don't care if they wear a swastika around.
Oh, he doesn't care.
It doesn't bother me.
Oh.
It doesn't bother you.
Because they're pro-peace.
It doesn't mean what everybody thinks it means.
Yeah.
But
yeah, all those Confederate Nazi skinheads. I mean, peace lovers. Sorry, I being a racist, according.
It doesn't bother you.
No, because it doesn't mean what everybody thinks it means.
But could you understand if people? But could you understand if people didn't want to see a swastika around?
I can understand it.
You could.
Why the Confederate flag might make people feel the same way?
No.
What do you?
To our live show tonight.
Yes, tonight's.
Wow, that guy is special.
Huh?
Welcome to our live show tonight.
Yes, tonight's actually a pretty exciting night for us, because tonight we're gonna fix America.
Do you feel that this election will be safe and secure?
No, not at all. That's why we're praying so much.
Will you trust it if Trump and Vance win?
Yeah.
I think the steal is already in play.
The steal is already happening.
The previous election was stolen with Joe Biden. I went to sleep. Trump was ahead. I woke up, and we lost.
I know, but just because you went to sleep, like they were counting votes, you know?
Come on now.
Come on now. People don't count while you
What
sleep.
happened?
People talk about counting sheep while you sleep. You can't count while you're sleeping, okay? That's just, it's against God.
Jesus ain't say that.
Votes, you know.
Come on now.
Really?
We know what happened.
And what happened?
It still happened. That's what happened.
What's going on in Washington, D.C. right now?
I don't think there's a lot going on there.
What do you
mean? Yeah, it's dead. I don't know. I think it's a show. It's all a show.
You think Washington, D.C. is a show?
Yeah, I think that what we're living in now is just, a lot of it is just put out there to try to get to the end point of this, what we're living through.
Huh?
But so it's all a show. But
I'm sorry. Let me try and unpack that. That was rough. A lot of what we are living through now is actually. Wait, I'm sorry. I've lost it. We're gonna have to go back.
It's just, a lot of it is just put out there to try to get to the end point of this.
Right. A lot of what we're living through now is just put out there to get us to the end point. I feel dumber now for having said that.
What we're living through.
But so it's all a show. But Joe Biden, he's the president now. He's not real. Joe Biden is not real. What does that mean?
That means that that's not the real Joe Biden.
Who is it then?
Maybe an actor.
I'm staying in the race.
Okay. There's been a lot of names thrown out there. I don't believe anything for sure, unless I've experienced it myself or somebody that I know and trust has experienced it. So
do you think Joe Biden is the president right now?
He is in the face. He's the president, but it's not really Joe Biden.
Why do you believe that?
Look at the pictures of him.
Look at the pictures.
Right. Yeah, no. I mean,
yeah, no.
You see him like
woof. To be this woman.
Joe Biden.
Why do you believe that?
Look at the pictures of him.
Right.
Yeah, no. I mean,
but why? But you see him like he's clearly like an elderly man talking. Why would he be? Why would that be a fake person who is so obviously old?
Why would they do an old guy? That's a great question. If they're gonna put out a fake president, why not put out one that seems more, I don't know, awake, more capable? Like it is weird in terms of conspiracy theories that the deep state would intentionally give us a shitty old robot rather than a young and vibrant one.
Who is so obviously old.
Why wouldn't it be? I mean, why? We are trying to take down the most. We are, like I said, we're at war, and what's going on is just pure evil. And my son has woken up to it. A lot of people have woken up to it, and God has had enough, and he's gonna.
And there we go.
Gone.
Jesus, I say that.
What do you hope Donald Trump does when he becomes president?
Well, everybody says he's going to be he said, did he say he's going to be a dictator on the first day?
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, things have to straighten out, but he can't do it by himself.
He can't be a dictator by himself.
TDS.
Wow, I mean, I shouldn't make fun of her. She's clearly spent a lot of time assessing these opinions of hers.
But he can't do it by himself.
Because they have TDS. Yeah.
Help! I'm being repressed!
What does that stand for?
Trump derangement syndrome, and I have KDS. It is what it is.
So it says presidential inauguration.
So that just means that you don't like him, I guess.
It is what it is.
So it says presidential inauguration, and then it says Donald Trump, and then it says Mike Pence.
It's an antique.
Yeah.
It's an antique.
What's going on with Mike Pence now?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Can't keep up with him.
Can't keep up with him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you upset that Pence isn't the vice presidential nominee?
Oh no, not at all.
Oh really?
Yeah.
So what happened with Mike Pence? Why did that relationship fall apart, you think?
I don't know.
It's no clue.
He turned on Trump.
Impossible to figure it out.
He turned on Trump? What you mean when he certified the election results?
I guess, yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, hopefully we'll have a good.
How did you feel about the crowd chanting "Hang Mike Pence" on January 6th?
The what?
The crowd chanting
The hang Mike Pence. I don't know. It's hard to say. I don't know. I don't
What
have
are the
feelings.
stakes of the 2024 election?
Well, it really, yeah, exactly. It's a matter of life and death. This is a war. We're at war, and it's good versus evil.
I'm just trying to figure it out exactly. So, would you support teaching the Bible in school?
Not necessarily.
Not necessarily.
You know,
Ooh.
because I don't want to infringe on somebody else's children that are maybe Jewish or
Yeah, or
Muslim.
Or one of the other. Yeah,
what
wow,
would
I
that
thought
have
of
to do with
another
Joe Biden
one.
being replaced by a body double.
That's truly incredible.
Well, because when you're trying to take down an evil system, you've got to.
So wait, are good guys doing that or bad guys doing it? Replacing him with a body double.
I don't. Well, I don't know.
I don't know.
I think I've said enough.
Do you think she said it? She knows how idiotic what she's saying sounds like. I mean, she might as well be sitting here telling us a bunch of D&D lore. You know, what you don't understand is that the dragon of Schmargenrog has ruled over the land with an unseen power. You don't understand it. It's truly it's many layers deep. The orcs and the goblins are also involved, but in a way that's very hard to quantify. Okay? But don't forget that eldritch powers are definitely involved, and we're going to need at least 7 diamonds and 3 rubies, as well as an unused spell book from the Isle of Astaroth. And that will be the only way for us to achieve the goal, the imperative, the very important goal that we have right now. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
It's an out there claim.
It is. It's out there. Yeah, there's a lot of people saying that. So, I mean, like I said, I don't know. We're all, me and my friends, we've been to several rallies. I've been to several. I don't know if you're familiar with Clay Clark. He does the Reawaken America.
We went to the one in North Carolina.
Yeah, Selma. Yeah, that was my 12th. I went to half of them. Yeah.
Did you?
So, the doctors are speaking the truth. We just want truth, right? We just want things to be good. We want truth, and the truth will set us free.
And you think the truth is that Joe Biden is replaced by a body double?
I do. I believe that, but I could be wrong.
Yes, I agree.
Donald Trump is good for democracy?
Absolutely.
What about, like a day like, say, January 6th?
I don't think that's the message that he was sending that day.
Well, it was like during the certification of the vote for president, he had this, rally, told people to march to the Capitol. It was while they were certifying the vote for an election that he lost.
Yeah,
so those two things are
he ever
connected.
Intended on them to storm the Capitol.
Right, but
just wanted them to assemble and show.
But when they did, should he have communicated, "Hey, that's not what I had in mind. Get out of the Capitol"? Should he have waited as long as he did?
I don't know. I don't know what all he had going on.
You don't know what all he had
with
going
other stuff or whatever.
The election's coming up. The country's very divided. If Donald Trump wins,
wow, this guy is so. I mean, he's willing to entertain anything. Anything could have been going on, and that shows just how generous this man is.
The election's coming up. The country's very divided. If Donald Trump wins, what would your message be to Democrats to bridge the divide?
I don't know, because it's gotten so bad, but I believe that we are going to see something of biblical proportions that's going to unite the country again. And nobody really knows exactly what, but something big is coming, and I think that's what's going to unite us, because just normal stuff won't. It's gotten too bad. I mean,
something biblical.
Everyone roll a charisma check.
Happen. What do you think that's going to be?
to make sure that you can get through the next insurrection.
41:12, it says something about you'll be looking for your enemies, but you won't be able to find them.
Do you believe the 2020 election was fair?
No.
Do you think the 2024 election will be fair?
I hope so.
Will you trust it if Donald Trump wins?
Yes.
Will you trust it if Kamala Harris wins?
No.
But does that feel like a problem?
Possibly.
What would the message of unity be for the country? Because it's very divided right now.
Honestly, how about be a peaceful people and don't burn your
Right
cities
now.
down because you don't get the outcome you want?
And what would your message to Trump supporters be after the election?
Well, you don't have to tell Trump supporters not to burn their cities down because they don't have a track record of doing that.
So
Mhm,
there's the
right.
You can say don't storm the Capitol.
Don't
I
storm
guess
the
you might
Capitol.
have to say that.
Well, I don't think we're going to be in a position to have to say that this time.
That
Well,
might be a fair thing to say.
we might have to say it if we're in a different position than you're expecting. Is that what you're saying? Oh my god. Okay, pal. The way he said it, especially with the use of the word have to, like the imperative in that sentence does concern me. You know, this guy genuinely does see that as a potential imperative, right? Like, while he doesn't want to see supposed burning down of cities, he's all for a second chance 6 if Trump doesn't win right now. Have you seen his cowboy hat recently? And also this shirt he's wearing.
Well, I don't think we're going to be in a position to have to say that this time through. So,
But that might be a fair thing to say if you're asking not to do violence.
I think you could do a peaceful protest at the Capitol if that's what you want to do, but no violence is acceptable.
Don't storm it like on January 6th.
I think that I believe there are a lot of things that played in with January 6th. I don't think it was 100% Trump supporters that breached.
It wasn't even Trump supporters, of course.
We are here in Macon, Georgia.
That's the classic. That's the original. He's stuck with that one since the beginning, regardless all the evidence. He has stuck. I mean, remember that one? I honestly, I don't think I've heard. That's a vintage take. It wasn't even Trump supporters that breached the Capitol.
I don't think it was 100% Trump supporters that breached.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't want reality.
We are here in Macon, Georgia, asking people for messages of unity. What would they want to hear from the other party should they lose the election? If Donald Trump wins the election, what should he tell Democrats to help bring the country together?
There's nothing you can tell them. They're too dumb.
Oh, that does bring people together.
Despite the differences that we have, you know, we're still worthy of being nice to each other and being compassionate with each other, and just to be honest and fair and restore those values. Yes.
What was your message of unity? It was patience, be patient.
Patience. Trust the process.
Trust the process.
Yes, sir.
Was the 2020 election fair?
I don't believe so, no, sir. I didn't
So
vote
should you trust the process?
I
don't.
There's nothing she could say.
If Kamala Harris is elected, but she appoints Donald Trump to her cabinet, you would have some faith that the country would be okay.
Yes. Yes.
Donald Trump wins the election. What should he tell Democrats to help bring the country together?
We're all in this together. We're all in it together.
And on the other side, if Kamala Harris wins, what would you want to hear from her?
That we're all in it together.
This guy might be the most sensible Trump supporter we've heard from yet. Ever.
This election, it's almost over. Any final message? I'm tired. I gotta be honest. I'm tired. Been on the road a lot, but what's your final message to voters?
I can't wait till the news starts reporting on other stuff in the world, because there's a whole lot more going on than the election.
That's actually true.
Oh, I appreciate it. Thank
Very
you.
true, sir. So much so. I wonder what he's concerned about. All right. What else do we have? What time is it? 5:45. Still no results out, I don't think. Let's go back to my office. I will peek in at what NBC is doing.
Pennsylvania. He wins Pennsylvania, flips that, holds North Carolina. But I will say goodbye to Garrett Haken. I'll say hello to Hallie Jackson.
Hey, friend, I'm here. I've always got your back.
So listen, it's hard to kind of parse those numbers. Yeah. 54% unfavorable for Trump, about 50 for Kamala Harris for the vice president. Still early in the night, but a little bit better for Democrats in that poll.
Keeping in mind that both of these candidates are trying to say that they would be the better one for the country over the course of the next 4 years. Can I ask you, Tom, since you're here at the big board, which is going to be your sort of dancing partner throughout the night, to pull up the road to 270? Because remember, that's what this is all about. The Electoral College, first one to 270, has it in the bag. Talk us through the dynamics.
That's what I was going to do.
So we're going to start election night where we left off in 2020, right? This is the way the map ended up. The 7 battleground states aren't penciled in. A reminder, President Biden, he won 6 of those 7 battleground states. The only one he didn't win was North Carolina. So let's talk about Kamala Harris's path tonight. Her easiest path to 270, she wins Pennsylvania, wins Michigan, wins Wisconsin. She holds that blue wall. Hallie, you see the number right there? She gets to 270. But if she were to have a terrible night and she were to lose the blue wall, say it were to collapse and Trump were to win all those states, she has one more path, but this is going to give Democrats heart attacks. Nevada, Arizona, holds Georgia, and flips North Carolina. She gets there at 275.
What about former President Trump's cleanest and clearest path, Tom?
You know, for former President Trump, just think about this when you're watching tonight. Remember the East Side, right? Where Trump
This is the Midwest. It's 4:45. I'm sorry.
Pennsylvania, holds North
I'm sorry that you're
Carolina,
living
flips Georgia,
in
he
the
gets to
past.
270 right there. But if something were to happen and he were to lose Pennsylvania, he has to win somewhere else.
The amazing
He
Karnacki.
doesn't
That's
have
not
a
even
Sunbelt
Karnacki.
strategy. He has to either win Michigan or Wisconsin if he's holding those two southern
Some
states. If
I don't
he
even
wins
know
Michigan,
this guy's name.
Either
Is
Nevada
it
or Arizona do it
Brian
for him.
something?
Nevada, even with just 6, gives it to him. But if he
I have
can't
no
win
idea
Michigan,
who
if
this
it's
guy
only
is.
Wisconsin,
Who
he
this
has
guy
to win
is.
Arizona.
Oh,
This is where
sorry,
the
I'm trying to do
GOP
two
really
things
has
at
to fight
once.
hard to get those votes.
Okay.
272, he gets there.
And depending on the spread, Tom, in other words,
Let's watch this. Someone mentioned this earlier. I meant to try and watch this. Totally blanked on it until just now.
The Electoral College sucks. Since 1992, 32 years ago, Republicans have only won the popular vote once, and that was George W. Bush's second term following 9/11. Yet the Republicans won the presidency 3 out of the last 8 times. That is deeply disturbing. But imagine this world. This just in, given the influx of Californians to Texas thanks in large part to a certain South African billionaire redomiciling all of his tech companies in the Lone Star State, Texas has now flipped blue. Now all 40 of Texas's Electoral College votes will go to the Democratic candidate and Republicans will never win the presidency again. So I guess we all love the Electoral College now, right? Actually, no. Everyone still hates it here. This is super bad too, from the standpoint of democracy. And that's because the Electoral College is a terrible institution that was used to entrench slavery, kill Reconstruction, and deny the American people the right to pick their leaders. And on top of that, it deeply distorts the election, even when it benefits your favorite team. Now, getting rid of the Electoral College completely would require a constitutional amendment. But in the last 200 years, there have been more than 700 attempts at fixing the Electoral College. In fact, more proposals for constitutional amendments than any other subject. So if the Electoral College is so despised, why is it still here? Well, today we're going to tackle your burning questions about the Electoral College, what it is, why it exists, and what we can do to fix this terrible, terrible institution. Now, when Americans vote in the presidential election, they are technically not voting directly for president. Instead, they are voting for a slate of electors pledged to vote for their chosen candidate. Each state is allocated a certain number of electorals based on its representation in Congress, which equals the number of senators plus the number of representatives in the House. Washington, D.C. is also allocated 3 electors under the 23rd Amendment, and this brings the total number of electors to 538. A candidate needs a majority of 270 electoral votes to win the presidency. In 48 states and the District of Columbia, the candidate who wins the majority of the popular vote in that state wins all of that state's electoral votes. This is a winner-take-all system. Maine and Nebraska use a different method where 1 electoral vote is awarded to the winner of the popular vote in each congressional district. The 2 remaining votes go to the statewide winner. This is called the congressional district method. But why does this weirdly anachronistic system exist? Well, in school they probably taught you that the Electoral College would protect smaller states, but actually it was just another compromise caused by slavery. By this time of the Constitutional Convention, delegates had already agreed to the 3/5 compromise, which counted 5 slaves as equal to 3 free people in order to increase the South's representation in Congress, as compared to getting no representation based on the people that those states enslaved. The compromise allowed slave states to count 60% of their enslaved population, boosting their representation in Congress and their influence in the presidential elections through the Electoral College. James Madison preferred popular elections, but he had to find a compromise. He said that although the people were the fittest to choose the president, the, quote, right of suffrage was much more diffusive in the northern than the southern states, and the southern states, quote, could have no influence in the election on the score of the Negroes. And thus the electoral...
It's a good video, but I just realized, I think there's a better one. I think this is the one we watched earlier this year on this. Sorry, everyone. But we're still going to talk about the Electoral College, but we're going to get our good friend Amy Goodman to help. That's right, Democracy Now! Might even be Juan Gonzalez in here. I mean, hard to say. Haven't seen this in a minute. Just threw this up out of the book.
This is Democracy Now!, the Quarantine Report. I'm Amy Goodman. As the presidential candidates make their final campaign push ahead of Election Day by visiting key battleground states like Florida and North Carolina, we turn now to look at the case for abolishing the Electoral College. 2 of the last 3 presidencies, Donald Trump's included, have gone to the candidate who lost the popular vote. In 2000, the Supreme Court halted the Florida recount, handing the election to George W. Bush. It was later determined Vice President Al Gore actually won the election by 500,000 votes. In 2016, Hillary Clinton received almost 3 million more votes than Trump, but Trump still won. The Electoral College, enshrined in the U.S. Constitution by the wealthy white founders, many of whom were slaveholders, has allowed these victories where the loser wins. But a mass movement is building to elect the president through a national popular vote. For more on this effort, we're joined by journalist Jesse Wegman, member of the New York Times editorial board, author of Let the People Pick the President, the case for abolishing the Electoral College. So, Jesse Wegman, welcome back to Democracy Now! Please explain the roots of the Electoral College and what this movement is all about.
Sure. Well, you know, the framers who met at the Constitutional Convention really had no idea what they were doing when they established how to pick a president. They said themselves that it was the hardest issue they had to decide. They fought about it the entire summer of 1787. And at the very end, they basically threw together this jerry-rigged system that we now call the Electoral College in a side room of the convention hall, really just to get the thing done and get it sent out to the states for ratification. They didn't really care too much about how it operated because they knew George Washington was going to be the first president, so the just didn't seem that high to them. But nevertheless, the system that they thought they were designing basically fell apart within the first 10 years. You know, the model we think we know is that there's this body of deliberate, thoughtful, educated, wise men who will make the choice for the people about who should lead the country. But within 10 years, it had completely stopped being like that. With the rise of national political parties, it became a team sport, and that's what it remains today.
Talk about the role of slavery in the establishment of the Electoral College.
Sure. I mean, slavery is obviously at the heart of every compromise that is struck at that Constitutional Convention. The one we know that's most familiar to us is the 3/5 compromise, and that was the deal by which the southern slaveholding states got to count 3/5 of their slaves toward their representation in Congress. So that equals roughly 12 to 14 extra representatives in Congress over the first decades of the country's life. And because of the way the Electoral College is designed, that translates into 12 to 14 extra electoral votes. The South actually won the White House, held on to the Speaker of the House, won many Supreme Court seats because of that extra power. It was called the slave power at the time, and it ran all the way up through the Civil War. And so that's really slavery was clearly at the heart of the compromise, and it certainly the Electoral College benefited the slave states well into the 19th century.
So you have long been a proponent of abolishing the Electoral College. Talk about how it is that, you know, losers win. For example, George W. Bush in 2000. And it is important to note that 4 of the people involved in that legal battle now Amy Coney Barrett, John Roberts, Brett Kavanaugh, and the Supreme Court Justice, who was Justice at the time, Clarence Thomas, were all involved with this. Of course, Thomas ruling on behalf of Bush. But how it is now that the Electoral College gathers, talk about where that actually happens, and who the electors are, and what is the movement that is challenging this?
So electors are just average people like you and me. They are not deliberative wise men. They just happen to be people who know somebody who picks electors. Each candidate has their own slate of electors. Each state gets a number of electors equal to its representation in Congress, so it's members of the House plus its 2 senators. That's it. That's really most of what the Constitution says about the Electoral College. The thing that affects, that gives us popular vote losers as presidents, that's something that actually has nothing to do with the Constitution. It is state laws that are called winner-take-all laws. And these are laws that do exactly what they sound like, which is they take those electors and they award all of them to the winner of the state's popular vote. Whoever wins the state's popular vote wins all of that state's electors. So in California, 4.5 million people voted for Donald Trump in 2016. That's a lot of people. That's more than most states in the country. And yet they all were essentially invisible when it came time to cast the state's electoral votes because California, like all but 2 states in the country, uses winner-take-all. That winner-take-all rule is why George W. Bush won in 2000. It's because even though Florida was essentially a tie by any measure, George W. Bush gets 25. That tie in the popular vote.
Yeah, and we not only need to get rid of the Electoral College, we also need to make voting day a national holiday. Nobody should be having to go to work on voting day. It just makes no sense. It makes it harder for people to actually cast their vote. And I think people in power know that to some degree. They're not subconsciously. They consciously know this.
Into 25 electoral votes for George W. Bush and 0 for Al Gore. Same thing happened in 2016 in different states. In Michigan, Wisconsin, and Pennsylvania, it was essentially tied, and yet Donald Trump won all the state's electoral votes. Hillary Clinton won none. This affects everyone, and it harms everyone. Yes, it's hurt Democrats and helped Republicans twice in the last 20 years, so it seems like a partisan issue, but in fact, it's not. It harms everybody, no matter their political affiliation, all over the country. So that's why we get to this popular vote compact, which is the latest way that has been come up with to get us to a popular vote.
So explain the National Popular Vote Interstate Compact.
Right. So there's been 800 or so attempts throughout American history to amend or just abolish the college outright. They've all failed, with the exception of one, the 12th Amendment, which made some important adjustments to it. But obviously, an amendment is not the path we're going to take today. So about 15 years ago, a computer scientist in Northern California developed an idea where he realized that it was the winner-take-all law, those state laws that I just was talking about, that were the heart of the problem. So he said, well, states have total authority to decide how to award their electors. They don't have to do it by state winner-take-all. What if states representing a majority of electoral votes all gave their electors instead to the candidate who won the most votes everywhere in the country? And bingo, you have a national popular vote for president. So this is an interstate compact, which is basically just an agreement among states. There are many of them in existence right now all over the country for on different issues. This is an agreement among states to award all of their electors, not to their statewide winner, but to the winner of the most votes in the whole country. And when states representing a majority, 270 electoral votes, which is what you need to win, join this agreement, it takes effect, and we elect the president by a popular vote without actually technically abolishing the election.
Yeah. Okay. Real quick, let's move. Let's take a look at what's happening live.
Depending on how close or not this race is. If we're waiting on Arizona or Nevada, everybody wants to know when might we know the results. That could be the scenario in which you and I are sitting for the next 4 days.
Well, 4 days, maybe even the weekend.
Where they need to go. The early voting numbers in Buncombe were at about 58%, which is outpacing the rest of the state. So we are, in fact, Hallie, to your question, seeing people come out and actually exercise their civic duty and be able to vote. As far as the misinformation component of this is concerned, though, I did have a conversation recently with a young couple that just voted for the first time. They are, in many ways, emblematic of how a lot of folks feel. It's not necessarily that they think that FEMA was only giving out $750, as was that first lie, frankly, that was out there for a couple of weeks, where the FEMA was redirecting funding from, disaster relief to the border or any of the other things that were out there. They said that they didn't think that the community was doing a good job of disseminating water and food supplies to the people that need it. And that was a real tangible impact that affected their votes. And I'm hearing that not just from that young couple, but people who are voting across the county, guys.
Actually,
Sam, there's also another
that wasn't even the video I was looking for, that Democracy Now! Video. I think they must have talked about the Electoral College on so many occasions that I found the wrong one. But it was an interesting idea. There's a different process of getting rid of the Electoral College that I prefer.
It could.
To some
So we're
degree.
talking about Don Davis right now, who
But
actually
I think it's still a
won
good,
that previous congressional election by about 5
yeah.
percentage points. But there was a mid-cycle redistricting, Hallie.
I think it's still a good
The
piece.
reality is that there were fewer
I think
black
one of the
voters in this
better.
district now. More right-leaning parts
There
of,
are
say,
better
Outer
ways.
Banks
There's one better
area
way,
of
at
North
least.
Carolina were added, and suddenly he's in a dogfight with Lori Buckout, who's a businesswoman. And the question becomes, how does this speak reflectively to what's going on across the country? Well, certainly in terms of younger voters turning out, that's part of it. But also, North Carolina is a state where there are more registered Democrats by about 100,000 than Republicans, and yet redistricting, especially when you're talking about the House, matters a whole lot because there is a supermajority of Republicans in the state legislature. This, in some respects, is a reflection of that.
Sam Brock live for us there in North Carolina. Sam, thank you.
North Carolina is going to be such a big story. We are tracking the latest exit polls as they come in, and the first polls in
I love how
Atlanta,
people in
Georgia,
Shorts
are set
chat
to
are
close
referring
soon.
to just accepting the popular vote for presidency as mob rule.
Into tomorrow morning.
It's funny.
Savannah and Lester are going to take you all the way through right here on NBC News. Stay with us.
You could say that, in a way, the Electoral College is mob rule, but states. It's like the states are ganging up on each other. Terrible idea. Why even have voting, It's just mob rule. It's just a bunch of people saying what they want. So funny.
And the state of democracy, and you can see it here. The top issue, again, based on these early exit poll numbers, interestingly, is the state of democracy at 35%. That is followed by the economy at 31%, abortion 14%, and then immigration and foreign policy after that. Why is this so interesting? It's because for months now, voters have consistently been telling public pollsters that the economy and inflation were the most important issues to them. So let's take a look at who these voters said they trusted more on each of these issues. On the economy, it is former President Trump who has an edge here over Vice President Harris on trust on this particular issue. On abortion access, remember, this is an issue that Vice President Harris largely closed on. She made it a centerpiece of her campaign. She is leading him as it relates to trust on abortion. And on immigration, that's the flip side of the coin. That is the issue that former President Trump has hammered now for months. He is leading her, not quite by double digits at this point. I want to bring in Chuck Todd to talk through all of these numbers. And let me just start with this.
Yeah.
The grain of salt, because I think it's important that people know. These are early numbers.
Okay.
These numbers likely will change. This is just the first wave of data coming into us. We have more data coming in as well. But at 5 o'clock Eastern, so over the course of the last hour, is when you see that drop, basically, of the exit poll information. You've been in our systems. You've been taking a look at all of it. Tell me what's standing out to you.
Well, there's a couple of things. A big one right now is just, and this is across the battleground states, and I'm going to generalize here because we always want to be careful for all the caveats that you put out there, which is fewer people are identifying with either of the two major parties. That is a big deal. Like overall, we believe if you just look at the two major parties, there was we think that there's a slight Republican registration advantage over the Democrats by about a point. But the largest cohort is non-party or independent. And then we ask you ask people what party do they belong to? Democrat, Republican, or something else independent. But then we ask, what's your ideology? Liberal, conservative, moderate. If this poll is right, this would be more people are identifying as moderate in this poll than in any of the previous elections featuring Donald Trump. And fewer people are identifying as conservative than any election featuring Donald Trump. The liberal number is actually pretty stagnant, pretty neutral there. What does that mean? Look, you talk to our pollsters and they'll tell you the moderate number is everything. Democrats always win moderates by a big number. The question is, can they win it by 20-plus points to offset, you know, some of their partisan disadvantages there? And the independent number is a big deal because Democrats did not do well in the voter registration front throughout the last 4 years. It was Republicans who did much better in the voter registration. It means she has to win independents. And the fact that there are more people identifying as independent, I think even raises the stakes even more that might be the single most crucial voting group we deal with tonight.
But you also talk about the divide between men and women. We've been talking about this gender gap for a while, and we can take a look now at how gender gap breaks down on issue. And I want to just be clear on the state of democracy issue, which again, according to these early exit polls, number one, they could change. Number two, just because a candidate is leading on the top issue does not mean that they win, but it can cut both ways depending on if you're a Republican or a Democrat.
Well, it does, and I want to tell people, like, we offered 5 choices on issues, okay? 4 of them are specific issues: economy, abortion, immigration, and foreign policy. The 5th is this umbrella issue of state of democracy. And what it tells me is the voters going, look, I'm not here for one specific issue. I'm here because I'm worried about X. And there's a lot of what I'd call the existential threat voters who believe if the other party gets power, their way of life's in trouble. And first of all, it's interesting that this is basically cutting right down the middle. So that means you have a chunk of voters in both parties who view this election in existential terms. Maybe we've got to come up with a better punch here to offer people. But I understand why I think if you don't have a specific issue, you chose that. And that tells me, in some ways, this is a very macro election. People really believe the stakes are high in this election. And that's what to me, that's what that tells me.
Let me pick up on one of these threads, too, because you talk about independents and moderates. You saw the vice president, the Harris campaign, really try to extend an olive branch to that particular group. I was on the campaign trail as she was bringing in former Congresswoman Republican Liz Cheney to try to turn out some of those folks who identify as more moderate. She's also worked to extend an olive branch to late deciders as well. And here's the exit polls. About 12% of voters say they made their decision on who to vote for in the last month. 86% made it before that. And you also have people who decided in just the last week to turn out as well. We're going to pull those numbers up in just a second, too. 7% in just the course of the last 7 days. And you've had some news made over the course of that last week.
It is. And, you know, one of my theories of this election
I'm going to switch us to the Kornacki
are we going to see a 2016 effect? And what I mean by that is it's pretty clear now in hindsight that going into the election, there a lot of voters waited to the last second.
Oh, I kind of want to watch this.
And they made the decision in it.
Let's watch this. I'll pull up the Kornacki cam in a second.
Do you guys remember that story from maybe 2 months ago that Donald Trump accidentally chartered Jeffrey Epstein's plane? Do you remember this?
Whoopsie.
Well, I'm just saying that because the journalist Michael Wolff has released an interview, a recording of an interview that he conducted with Jeffrey Epstein back in 2017. 2017, Donald Trump was president. Now, it doesn't say, I'm not sure if it was like January 2017, so right before he got inaugurated, but it's in the year 2017, so more than likely it was after he was already president. And this is an interview with Jeffrey Epstein describing his relationship with Donald Trump.
I think we have a snippet from one of the conversations that I recorded with Epstein, and I think this was in a restaurant in 2017.
His people fight each other. Right. And then have outsiders. He sort of poisons the well outside. He will tell 10 people Bannon's a scumbag, and Priest is not doing a good job, and Kelly has a big mouth. What do you think? Jamie Dimon says that you're a problem, and I shouldn't keep you. And I spoke to Carl Icahn, and Carl thinks I need a new...
I'll be right back again. Sorry, chat. I need something.
Kellyanne's just too much of a wild card. And then he tells Bannon, you know, I really want to keep you, but Kellyanne hates you.
I I have more than dozens. I probably have 100 hours of Epstein talking about the inner workings of the Trump White House.
Okay.
About his...
I hadn't heard that part at the end, but I actually go back. I want to hear, first of all, of course, Michael Wolff had these recordings for 8 years and now is releasing them.
Save them for maximum marketability.
Marketability. It would be it was pretty important information that he...
Gotta love the capitalist press.
...was communicating with Jeffrey Epstein seemingly while he's in the White House. It's unclear to me if he's talking about making determinations about his team prior to go, but can we go back? Let's play it again a little bit further. I want to see if I can assess the timeline here. But either way, this is communication in the year 2017 when Donald Trump became president. So it stands to reason that they were communicating in the lead up to that in 2016 and going forward. So,
in a restaurant in 2017.
His people fight each other. Right. And then have outsiders. He sort of poisons the well outside. He will tell 10 people Bannon's a scumbag and Priest is not doing a good job and Kelly has a big mouth. And what do you think? Jamie Dimon says you're a problem and I shouldn't keep you. And I spoke to Carl Icahn. And Carl thinks I need a new spokesperson. So Kelly, even though I hired Kellyanne's husband, Kellyanne's just too much of a wild card. And then he tells Bannon, I really want to keep you, but Kellyanne hates you.
I have more than dozens.
No, I want to hear him at the end.
I probably have 100 hours of Epstein talking about the inner workings of the Trump White House and about his long-standing, deep relationship with Donald Trump.
So that's pretty interesting. We hear from he has a whole QAnon fan base. There is a certain high percentage of the Republican electorate that believes in QAnon, and a lot of QAnon believers have a lot of theories about Jeffrey Epstein. I mean, Jeffrey Epstein was friends with a lot of powerful people and was running a sexual abuse ring against minor girls.
That very probably could have been an intelligence blackmail ring as well. Alex Acosta was told that he was intelligence. Jeffrey Epstein's
biographer?
I don't know how to call Ghislaine Maxwell associate provider,
paramour rapist helper. Yeah.
Pimp. I looked this up. Her father was a big spy master for Mossad.
Oh, 100%.
The last person that talked to him was his lawyer. I forget what his last name is, but just happens to be Anthony Blinken's stepfather. So Israeli intelligence is something that we need to confront as much as we need to confront the own abuses of our intelligence agencies. To some extent, intelligence is a worldwide sort of elite conspiracy and has different nationalities pasted on top of it. The Epstein relationship to Israel policy is one that could be dismissed as just simply conspiratorial, but I'm sorry. It's a huge problem.
And this is the thing where it's there's a certain point where it becomes naivete if you're not conspiratorial about this, because we know that the United States and Mossad and Israeli intelligence have an intimate relationship. We know the lengths that Israeli intelligence will go to based on publicized information from just this past year, where it's now been revealed that there was a multi-year-long campaign to threaten ICJ prosecutors who were trying to hold Israeli powerful people accountable for war crimes, that they were threatening them personally, these prosecutors. So you're trying to say that they wouldn't have utilized intelligence by Jeffrey Epstein to have blackmail over people abroad, over other highly powerful people? I mean, just Prince Andrew,
reinforce solidarity a little bit.
Bill Clinton, Prince Andrew, if those are the people that you're swimming with, and abusing girls with, then that allegedly for Bill Clinton, but that it stands to reason. And so, I mean, it also would make sense why Epstein got such a light sentence under Acosta. It would make sense why he was avoidant of prosecution for so long. And it would also make sense why, when Trump was asked about Ghislaine Maxwell and her case when he was president, he said, "I wish her well."
Also, there's a Musk brother issue with that too. Samuel Pissarro was a Polish-American lawyer, author, and Holocaust survivor. Couldn't have been the last person to speak to Epstein unless he had a Ouija board. Not Epstein, the last person to speak to Maxwell before he died. I can't remember the circumstance there, but you might look it up. But this painting Epstein had, and I don't want to put this all on the Democrats. Daily Beast just put this, released a huge thing too about apparently photographs. Maybe this is related to the Wolf stuff that showed Trump with in Epstein and then naked women on his lap and stuff like that. But this is also a real thing that Epstein had, which is a painting of Bill Clinton in a blue dress. And the thing about that's always upset me since 2008 now, is the sort of Clinton defenders that said he just rode the plane. And maybe had some social, which is even if you buy that, which I am not going to just take that at face value, but whatever, grant that for just a second. What message does it send a victim of Epstein that Epstein can say, who was on this exact plane that you're having a horrible experience on?
Yeah, Matt on point as usual. All right, let's go here and see the live Kornacki cam. Hold on, I'm gonna switch. Whoopsies, not what I meant to do. Go here. All right. Prince Andrew still free? Oh, very free. Just prancing around. That picture is hilarious. Okay, Kornacki cam. All right, Kornacki.
There was a 70,000 vote gap. If there's a gap like this, Democrats are feeling good. If Macomb is more balancing out Oakland, advantage Trump. We're going to be watching that one throughout the night. And then let's head to Wisconsin. We'll get to the Western stuff later, but we're just taking you through the East and the Midwest closings right now. Wisconsin, again, a lot of places we could look here, but the word I'm going to use, if this is a word all night in Wisconsin, is bow wow. And what I mean by that, we got the three counties in the sort of the Fox River area here. B, Brown County. O, Outagamie County. That's where Appleton is. And W, Winnebago County. That's where Oshkosh is. And then right here, the Collar County, sort of around Milwaukee, three core Republican counties. That's Ozaukee County. That's Waukesha County. That's Washington County. Wow and bow. You got to go backwards to get the bow there. But the importance here is these two collections of counties tell two stories that are going to be key to the outcome in Wisconsin. Let me just show you again. These are the bow counties, and what's happened in them, they're very demographically similar here. They've got the same sort of about 85% white, a lot of blue collar white, the median income about at the statewide average in these places. In 2016, Trump brought the Republican number up. This collectively in these counties, he got it up to 10 points. That was a big improvement for Republicans in 2020. He gave back some of that improvement. This dropped from 10 to 7. Given how narrowly perched Wisconsin is in terms of the result, this was a very significant drop in support for Trump. So the Trump campaign wants the bow number back at 10, wants the bow number higher than 10. They need that tonight. Now, the wow number has been diminishing for Trump and has been diminishing for Republicans since Trump came along. You can see in 2016,
Melania likes abortions,
Trump held
Barron less
more
so,
of the
you
Republican
assume.
support, almost won the
Not
counties
necessarily.
by 30.
I mean, maybe
Lost
Barron.
5 points. There's
he
a
made
lot
it
of
past
population
under
in these
the
counties.
wire.
Waukesha
So maybe
County's got 400,000 people.
pro-choice.
These are places with large concentrations of college degrees.
I feel like in Barron's
higher
mind,
incomes. These are suburbs.
he's
Again,
probably
this is an
thinking,
area
she made the right
that's
choice.
been good to Democrats nationally. The suburbs of Milwaukee have stayed a little more Republican than other suburbs nationally. Can Democrats make another big cut in this Republican margin here? That would be a very good night. That would give Kamala Harris a great chance in Wisconsin.
Steve Kornacki, I know this is the start of a lot of talking that you're going to do tonight, a lot of information you're going to be giving us. Thank you for that outlook on what we're going to be looking for in
What are you saying over there? None of us can hear what you're saying. Yeah, cut to music. What the heck is going on here? Who's a fan of Aiden Ross? Trump is? Is that what we're talking about? Or are we talking about somebody else? I don't even know what we're talking about. You think Kornacki is a Aiden Ross fan? Could be. I don't really know a lot about his media consumption. He doesn't give me Aiden Ross vibes, you know? But maybe in his downtime when he's back home at the crib with the homies, he's got, you know, completely different vibe. Limited edition Jordans, Rolex. What other kind of stuff does Aiden Ross like? He's probably got like a Cybertruck, but instead of Trump's face on it, he's got his own face and like a election board. You know, the Kornacki truck. The Cybernacki. Oh, it seems like the Cybernacki is having some serious problems, actually. They got, look at this, hold on. Look, they got IT over here. You got IT over here helping Kornacki out with his fancy board. Is it working now? Is it working? Thrilling. It is thrilling music. You're right. I'm thrilled. I'm on the edge of my seat. I mean, all of us probably are to some degree. And I know I'm being somewhat droll, but you know, I too have the election anxieties just a little bit in there. The butterflies. Someone referred to them as big. Was it murder of crows in their stomach or something like that? I wouldn't go that far personally, but I'm certainly as focused in as seemingly many of you are. Kornacki's just given up. He's just walked away from the board. Kornacki, this is the Kornacki cam. How is it? What is this bullshit? We are paying for Kornacki cam and we're getting blank screen cam, bro. What is this? This is rude. This is what I have to say. Boo. Boo, Kornacki. Alright, fine. We'll find something else to do. Sorry, we're going back to my office. I'm sorry, but, you know, it's not my fault that MSNBC can't manage... Oh, wait, Kornacki's back. Wait, this could be a good sign. I was almost going to take us away, but... we got the Nacky. Ooh, and he's got a pen in his mouth? He looks like a real journalist right now. Multiple folders. And a branded mug. Speaking of which... they're not available. But maybe one day they will be. If you look real close, these are branded Gary mugs here, right on my desk I'm drinking from. Delicious latte. Just teasing. All right, back to the Kornacki cam. You think Kornacki seems too practical for that? You're talking about the Kornacki truck and the Rolex on the couch back at the crib? What? That doesn't sound like his thing? I'm shocked. I feel like you can't see it. I mean, you can see his monitor, but pretend like you can't see it. He's actually watching XQC's live stream right now. He's a big... You know, he's just in that ecosphere. You can just see it on his face. Come on, chat. We're here on the Kornacki camera right now. Come on, chat. Everybody's got to focus. If we don't get... okay, all right, I can't do an XCC impression. It's bad. It's a bad... I tried. I tried. It was mid. Kwamalua is how you say it? Is that correct? I don't think that's correct pronunciation. Kornacki, you're disappointing me. We're going back to this.
Last week is these famous people.
Right.
Name them.
Right.
That's a intimidation factor.
Oh yeah, and it's not just to put it on the Democrats. It's just to show
how widespread this is.
How widespread it is, and also, frankly, the conservative conspiracy theories have been all over. Conspiracies have been all over this. I think there's been a vacuum left in many ways by Democrats who don't want to piss off the Clintons to not go after this.
Do you know
bit
about
more. And it's a bit of a
stickers?
shame because, as I said at the start of this, Trump chartered Epstein's plane, and it could have been, I think, utilized to greater effect if it's a small thing. So I don't want to get too carried away with it. But yeah, you know, Donald
Trump, another plane you can take?
Trump has been trying to avoid this topic. He's been quoted in the past saying that he knows Jeffrey likes young girls. Like Clinton, he's been trying to distance himself from Jeffrey Epstein. But
unlike Clinton, there's like video of Trump partying.
Yeah.
No clear.
So how does
nothing
he get
clear
away
yet.
with it? And
well, this is what you attack
Democrats
people on your weakness.
What's not looking good is
it's a pretty
Kornacki.
common, political strategy. Jeffrey Epstein set
isn't
Elon
saying
Musk's brother
anything
up with a
right
girlfriend in effort to get close to Tesla founder, sources say.
Well, anyway,
He's just standing there.
Just
He
fascinating
had people
stuff,
come
and we will
look at his
see if we get a
Zoll
little bit more information on that
Kornacki
front.
setup.
And I do wonder what he had on Trump, because I would guess he had something.
But
there's a lot of things that were seized.
He's still
and it'd be nice to
just
know exactly what
giving
was
us his
the content
back.
of those
How
seized.
dare he?
I just had I remembered, and Jeet brought up Roy Cohn. Roy Cohn used to record everybody and have wild sex parties and use that for blackmail as well.
I mean,
Roy Cohn,
just
former
another
That was his
thing
mentor.
You reminded me of
Lead-
is this is the thing.
lead
Platoneers
counsel
do
on McCarthy
throughout history.
Oh,
like
yeah.
even during the Civil
Trials.
War, like hotels in say like Middle Ground or whatever were big sources of espionage, and people who run hotels that could say maybe we install a listening device like you say Russia supposedly could do to lots of people. Like that's just a thing. Hotels, elite hotels are in the intelligence or counterintelligence business.
What about Did you ever read anything about mob-run casinos in the past, or participating in this and collaborating with?
I think there was supposedly rumors that the Kennedys were, and I don't know how true this is, but there's rumors to the effect that the mob had stuff on the Kennedys because of espionage at hotels.
There's a long piece in Jackman from a few years ago about how this renovated casino in Milwaukee, outside of Milwaukee, Wisconsin, was they basically it was fronted by mobsters and frequented by the Kennedys because Kennedy's dad was really in with those mobsters and basically helped subsidize it because they were so angry that they helped Kennedy win, and then Kennedy immediately appointed RFK to be attorney general and started prosecuting the mob.
Right.
So the mobsters were like, basically like, come and frequent this casino and prop it up, or like, we'll kill your dad. Basically.
Well, but I mean, that's the source of a lot of theories about if the mob was involved in JFK's assassination, right? And that's a whole different wormhole that we could go down. But
they're only involved to the extent the CIA wanted them involved. But that's for another day.
We could talk about this for like another hour.
We could really get into this.
Lame Duck Charles. My dad moved in with me about 5 months ago, and I would like to share my insights on his conservative media consumption. My area code is 9.
Look at Kornacki over here, still on the computer.
Normally we don't let people cut the line, but I'm going to pick up your
so
call
many
now.
charts.
Yes, calling for a 9.
Does look like he's starting to get things running again, maybe. Oh, there's random guy getting B-roll in the background. Wow. She's got the full... the full body gimbal set up over here. Holding it all up with one hand. My God. Dun 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 dun. Who's been sleeping on Joe's couch? Let's hope not. Let's hope it's not JD, because that means he'd be, you know, in the White House doing who knows what to the furniture.
Donald Trump spent a lot of quality time with my wife.
Alright, Kornacki, get this set up. Why is it still saying Biden over here, pal? This should probably say Kamala. Those are switched all on. The worm is back? What? RFK's brain worm? Is that what we're talking about? Oh, I see. This is the 2020 president. I take it all back. He's Kornacki looks overwhelmed right now, doesn't he? Oh God. He's got so many maps on his desk. Alright, quit less gesturing with the hands, more organizing with the maps, sir. Dun 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 dun. Okay. The world's biggest iPad. I mean, yeah, these things are pretty standard now. Like, most classrooms have them in them. They're all over the place. I just realized this is still not running in the back. What the? Okay. You think the khakis are more slimming? Wow. You're talking about poor Kornacki? Because he wore the blue. I mean, I think they're technically a khaki material. They're just not a tan khaki. Is this going to be a nail-biting nightmare again? I mean, Mitty, I feel like we talked about this in the weeks upcoming as the polls have gotten closer and closer. That, you know, Democrats really needed to make some sort of a real move. Kamala needed to find a really big way to distance herself potentially from the Biden administration to perhaps get those polls moving in a different direction. But at least for now, I mean, certainly for the next 30 minutes until we start seeing some of these goddamn polls is going to be a nail-biter. I can say that much. But I mean, I've been saying that, you know, without that sort of distancing, that I think it was going to be hard for people. And that it was going to make this, going into election night, another one of these sort of anxiety-inducing events. You know, where, you know, sleep is going to be more optional, probably, tonight. Although, once again, we're not going to have full results for days, so really, sleeping is going to be necessary. I take it all back. Everybody make sure you get sleep tonight. We will only have I think, a cursory understanding of this by the end of this whole evening, as there's still a lot of counting. Some states don't even allow you to start counting the mail-ins and provisionals until after today. So, you know, like we've been saying, 3-4 days out will be when we get official results. Of course, we'll be able to do some amount of forecasting on what we see here. But yeah, no, I mean, we've been watching the polls get tighter and tighter over the last, you know, really 2 months, ever since the, well, slightly less, month and a half, like, right, like after September, third week in September, right, I would say is when we started seeing those boosts in the polls that Kamala had gotten from the first and only presidential debate between her and Trump sort of start to wane to where they're at now. She's still up, obviously. We've seen the polls. She's up 3% nationally from most of the most recent polls. And there's been some interesting movements in places like Iowa. And yet there's still a lot of questions in terms of what pathway is, which pathways are available right now to this. It's gonna, you know, honestly, it's not gonna see. We're not gonna see much until really 8 o'clock, right? Because most of the East Coast, I would say, aside from, let me think. Really, I guess. Well, I take it back. Georgia and North Carolina are in play on the East Coast. So those are actually, yeah, those are going to be two big results here in about 20 minutes. Now it'll just be initial results, of course, just the polls closing, literally, with probably very, very few votes, if any, counted at this point. Come on, Kornacki. Did we not have this set up beforehand? What's going on? Are we literally watching Kornacki fall apart right now in front of our very eyes? Why is this not ready right now? We're 22 minutes away and he's entering these these districts in one by one. This guy's not giving me a ton of confidence right now. Maybe we should check. Maybe we should check one of the other streams. Do I have another window open? Oh, it's this. Here, I'll do this. And then... Mamala's gonna blow it out. Coconuts for days, baby.
For the very soul of our nation, we have seen what can be, unburdened by what has been. To see what can be, unburdened by what has been. What can be, unburdened by what has been. To see what can be, unburdened by what has been. Unburdened by what has been, and knowing what can be. What we know can be, unburdened by what has been. What can be, unburdened by what has been. An America that we know can be, unburdened by what has been. To know what can be, unburdened by what has been. You see what can be, unburdened by what has been. To see what can be, unburdened by what has been. The courage to see what can be, what should be, unburdened by what has been. And seeing what is possible, unburdened by what has been. Saw what could be, unburdened by what has been. Is the ability to see what can be, unburdened by what has been. To see what is possible and what can be, unburdened by what has been, and who has done what? Always believe in what can be, unburdened by what has been. That is what I want for you. Is to see what can be, unburdened by what has been. Who saw what could be, unburdened by what has been. Who saw what could be, unburdened by what has been. To see what can be, unburdened by what has been. To see what can be, unburdened by what has been. To see what is possible and what can be, unburdened by what has been. To see what can be, unburdened by what has been. We see what can be, unburdened by what has been. The ability to see what can be, unburdened by what has been. A future unburdened by what has been. The ability to see what can be, unburdened by what has been. To see what is possible.
It looks like Harris's campaign rally.
Unburdened.
So yeah, I guess there's two rallies here. One Trump rally, one Harris one. This one appears to be in Philadelphia. I can't tell where this Trump rally is. This is inside, shockingly. Even though he's constantly doing these outside rallies. This is difficult to find venues. I'd like to host him. Apparently they saved the budget enough for the final push. They have Kentucky and Indiana preloaded as red on AP, or no, it's just the color. They haven't even given them the electoral votes. That's a weird decision. Okay, AP. Trump leading in Indiana and Kentucky. How would we know that? The votes aren't even in. Kornacki cam? Pause. Good pause. Kornacki's back.
Mail-in vote, that's going to be the most Democratic friendly, but now they're getting into the same day vote, it appears, too, which is the more Republican friendly we expect. So you're getting more of a mix in here. Now the significance of this is, we don't think Indiana's up for grabs, but Harris is leading by one,
Wow,
about 60%.
what just
Let me
happened
show
to
you
the sound?
See if you were watching earlier, this might look familiar.
Kornacki is
Hamilton
Vader.
County in the Trump era. I'll be using the term Trump era.
Darth
I'm not talking
Kornacki.
about 2016 to the present, because 2012 is the last pre-Trump era presidential election we had. Mitt Romney was the Republican nominee, and Romney, like all Republicans before, used to absolutely clean the Democrats' clocks in Hamilton County. This is a big, growing.
There's a disturbance in the electoral politics.
This has the highest level of educational attainment, meaning the highest concentration of voters with four-year degrees or beyond. Again, we've been talking about these as Trump-hostile, Democratic-friendly voters. That's what you've been seeing. Romney by 34, 2012. Trump only by 19 in 2016. Look at that slippage. Last time around, look how close the Democrats, they got it down to 7. If you were watching earlier, this might remind you of a county outside Atlanta we're saying is going to be key. The question here in Hamilton, as in that county in Georgia, can the Democrats flip it tonight? It won't really mean anything, we think, in Indiana, but this county demographically is similar to counties we're going to be talking about all night in battleground states. So this may be an early barometer. And I caution, it's only 60%. We have a lot of the vote. There's still a lot to come. Probably a fair amount, if not all, same day.
Oh,
there. So
shit.
we want to see how
Kamala's
that
up.
breaks. But the key
Kamala's
here is
up in
are the
Hamilton
Democrats
County.
making progress,
58%
further
in.
progress. Trump, lost a lot of ground in 16,
Up
even more in 20.
1.1%.
The Democrats get this to within, a point or two. Could they actually flip a county like Hamilton? If they do, and this may be overtaken by Georgia soon, but we're keeping an eye on these next few minutes because this could be a test of what's to come in some of those other counties. I mentioned Fayette County, outside Atlanta, a lot of similarities between here and there.
The corn cam. The Robo Kornacki. The Robonacki.
We can call it up right now, as a matter of fact, and that's the Hamilton County governor's race, not surprisingly. So, yeah, you've got 50. This is the first time I'm seeing it, actually, but Mike Braun, the senator, leading the Democrat here by 15 points. Just so we can compare that to the presidential race. So you got 15 there for Braun. And he's running about 4 points behind Trump's number statewide right now, which, again, given where the expectations are, we'll see where it shakes out in Indiana, but given where the expectations are, the Democrats would probably need more separation from the Trump-Harris race if they're going to win Indiana than 4 points.
But Trump is clearly winning in most of the counties in Indiana. She's just winning in one of them currently. Not great. Not a great start in Indiana. But to be expected. Hold on, I'm going to go back to my office for 2 seconds. And actually, I just remembered one thing I should probably do as well. It's probably not helping. Keep Kamala and carry on. Who is this Kamala Harris you speak of? I am not familiar. Holy shit. What is going on here? It's really lagging again. Really bad. Hold on. Probably because literally everyone is streaming to YouTube right now. That'd be my guess. Let's see, with this? I wonder. Maybe this will fix it. Fingers crossed, everybody. Hopefully that fixes it. Have to go look for your missing car key right now. Jeez. It does look better. It does look better, right? Like it's not lagging anymore at all. Okay. Well, that's good. Poll closing in... First poll closing in 4 minutes and 44 seconds. That's coming in quick. Kornacki is moving voraciously over here. Oopsies. Wow, there's 100,000 people watching the Kornacki cam right now. Insane. Fucking insane. Like seriously, look at these numbers. 100,000, 102,000, 102,177 currently watching the Kornacki cam. That's a lot. That is a lot, a lot, a lot. Okay, we're gonna switch over to the Kornacki. Switching back. Switching back. 100 seconds. It's a countdown time, people. We need a countdown. 55, 54, 53, 52, 51, 50, 49, 48, 47, 46, 45, 44, 43, 42, 41, 40, 39, 38, 37, 36, 35, 34, 33, 32, 31, 30, 29, 28, 27, 26, 25, 24, 23, 22, 21, 20, 19, I know how to count, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Wait. Oh, I forgot I closed my soundboard. God damn it. Reopen soundboard software. We need We need sound effects. God damn you. Kornacki, why aren't you stoked? We should. Somebody wake up Kornacki over here. Okay, pal. That was the clock. We should have had some sort of fanfare. Should have had some goddamn fanfare. Here's some fanfare for you people. Since Kornacki refuses to give it to you, I'll give it to you. There we go. I know that GNN is an air. I think it's Hindu. I think it's Hindu. I think it's Indian. I could be wrong about that. Well, I could have sworn it was in Hindu and Indian channel or Pakistani. Same language. And it's not even a language actually. Urdu and Hindu, but they're very, 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 very similar. But I'm pretty sure that pretty sure. I'd have to look it up now. Now you got me thinking. Maybe I could be wrong. I'm too focused in. I'm trying to get Kornacki to wake up. I'm not sure what to do. Should I yell? Ah! Wake up, Kornacki. Give us the results. He must be able to see how many people are watching right now, right? I think he's got like 100. Hold on, I gotta look again. I don't want to be wrong. I'm pretty sure it's like 125,000 now. I lost it. Where is it? Where's the number? No, 102,000? 102,000. It's a lot of people, so. Okay,
Yeah, so what's about to happen here in Georgia is that by this new state law, every early vote from every county has to be reported out in the 7 to 8 o'clock hour. The early vote is more than 4 million votes. We know that. It's about 80% of all the votes. So we're just waiting. This could start lighting up any second if it goes to plan. While we wait for that, I do want to show you Florida, because Florida is a state that counts super fast. And while we don't think of Florida as that competitive tonight, one that we wanted to look at and I wanted to flag is right here. This is Osceola County. This is a biggie just south of Orlando. Why am I flagging this? Because this is one of 3 Hispanic majority counties in Florida, and this county has the highest concentration of Puerto Rican Americans of any county in Florida. 1/3 of the population in Osceola County is of Puerto Rican descent. So obviously, given the events in the campaign trail, we were very interested to see what plays out here. Now, here's the backdrop for it. Donald Trump has actually been doing much better in this county than Republicans have done in the past. Donald Trump lost this by 25 when he first ran. Look at this in 2020. We talked about his Hispanic voter growth in 2020. A 25-point deficit became a 14-point loss. This was one of his biggest leaps in Florida. What you're looking at here is even closer right now with the vote that we're looking at in Osceola. Now take this one step further. What we get in Florida in these initial batches is the early vote. It's the vote by mail combined with the early in-person vote. Usually in Florida, this initial number, and it's 70% of the vote, is as good as it gets for a Democrat in any given county, because then they count the vote that was cast on Election Day. That's usually more Republican, and that actually increases the Republican share. So if that pattern holds, Donald Trump, in one of the most heavily Hispanic counties in Florida here, is poised to take another big step forward. And again, given the events of the last week, you know, the fact that there's a large Puerto Rican population has made this of particular interest. We'll see, because there's the possibility here, these patterns we're used to where Republicans vote more on Election Day, you know, maybe that blows up a little bit this year, but we're going to see. That's been the pattern. We wanted to keep an eye out for that county. Again, all eyes, though, on Georgia. I'm hoping to see some light up here. What they're doing doing in Georgia, just so you know. I said Florida is one of the quickest, most efficient vote counting states in the country. Of all the big states, it is the most efficient. What they're doing in Georgia is trying to replicate what they do in Florida. In Florida, the law is half an hour after poll close, all the early vote reported out. In Georgia, it's now 1 hour, all reported out. So you see how fast it starts coming in Florida. That's the aim of this law that they're first time it's been in effect here. That's the aim of this law in Georgia tonight. Look, we're about 5 minutes past 7, nothing yet. But again, if it goes to plan, we're going to get a lot fast here.
He's running on fumes, you think? He's got to have something in that cup. Liquid meth, I assume.
Illegal.
I totally forgot. I was gonna end the stream. Should I keep it going? Should I keep it going? How insane is MR chat right now? Scale of 1 to 10. It's not even live. Oh my god, there's 6.2 thousand waiting. Holy shit. I'm almost tempted to go over there. So the Puerto Rico joke did fuck all? We'll see. We'll see. We'll see, Mitty. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. Don't let Kornacki trick you. It's a 10 out of 10 unreadable. Alright, I'll keep this open just because I feel like everybody needs a place to go to get away from the absolute mayhem that I think we all know MR chat is gonna be. But maybe we'll watch it. Maybe we'll watch MR while we're doing all of this. Oh yeah, the chat's already open. Chat's definitely open, PB. Also, it's super weird to just see you as a purple circle with the PB, not gonna lie. Where's the bird? What's going on? Are you banned too? Is everybody blocked from using their normal accounts right now? Like, what the hell's going on? Mitty suddenly being very doomer in chat. It's all calm down, alright?
Immediately, if not sooner.
So I'll just settle it on down immediately, if not sooner. It's gonna be fine. It's not time to blow it all up. It's just woosah. Okay, goose fraba.
A what now?
I think every person on Earth is streaming right now. Alright, not literally. Restream the MR here. Alright, yeah, I think that seems reasonable. Whenever the MR decides to go live. Kornacki's getting to it here. It looks like Donald Trump is certainly up in Florida as it stands currently. What is this? Oh, Majority Report's live now. Sam opened the floodgates with his pool interview. The floodgates. It's funny. Oh wait, no, they're not live. Wait, what? Is the MR live or not? It looks live. No, it's not live. I lied. Alright, I need to close the chat because the chat will literally just destroy this. It will destroy us. Okay. Well, I've got the MR ready, queued up. We will stay here focused on the Kornacki cam for now. I can feel the tension in the room right now. Everybody is dead focused. We're all just staring at Kornacki going back and forth. Kamala up in Georgia right now? 62 to... Oh wait, no. This is a different county. I see. He's going from county to county. Yeah. So it's like 4 counties to 2 right now in Georgia. Oh, a bunch more results just came in.
Okay, so as we said, we expect a ton to come in here, and what's supposed to happen is all of the early vote. That includes vote by mail and in-person early voting that's been going on the last few weeks. All of that needs to be reported out by all of these counties in the first hour. So what we're seeing so far is it may be in some of these counties they're going to report that incrementally because it's varying what we're getting. But I'll tell you, I talked about, if you were watching earlier, what we call, or I call at least, the blue blob, which is the immediate Atlanta metro area. In 2 counties there, this is where Democrats are just trying to run up the score. Two counties here have substantial vote in right now. One of them right here is Douglas County. And you can see here, this is about 3/4 of the vote. And again, that is probably all of the early vote that was cast here. Now, to put this in some perspective, Harris basically beating Trump 2-1. This is one of these counties where the population's been growing. It's been diversifying, sort of an emerging suburbs. Now the population's now about half black. It's a place Republicans used to win. Harris up 2-1 here. Last time around, Biden won this 62-37. He won by 25. Currently, Harris is about 32.5 up on Trump. The key question here, and this is going to be the key question in Georgia as we start to get these big batches around the state. What we expect from the past is that the rest of the vote in Douglas County is going to be more Republican friendly. It's going to be the election day vote, the people who went out and voted today. You remember from 2020 that was overwhelmingly Republican. We don't think it's going to be anywhere near as overwhelming. We still suspect it's going to be more Republican than Democratic, but we don't know that. So the key here is maybe put a pin in this. 3/4 of the vote in Douglas, and it's 66-33-6 Harris over Trump. When this gets up to 100, has this moved? How much has this moved? Because that is going to be the story sort of statewide. If Harris lands somewhere around here in Douglas, that's progress for her. That's what the Democrats want to be doing. They want to be squeezing more out of this big population dense immediate Atlanta metro area. Again, I'm just showing you how this county has evolved politically. Look at this. It was a battleground in 2012. Donald Trump came along, lost it by 10. Biden 25, now 32 for Harris. Democrats in all these counties, these 9 counties right around Atlanta, this is what they want. They want to keep driving that number up, keep running up
I don't think they've called
big
Florida
margins
yet.
there.
Did he say
because
that?
They've been suffering losses elsewhere in the state. So that is
No.
Douglas County.
No, they
Take a
haven't
look
called
now. Again,
Florida
this is
yet.
part of that blue area we're talking about. This is Rockdale County. Geographically, this is small. It's very population dense
Just certain
here.
counties in
and again, now
Florida,
Harris by about a little bit more than
think are
50.
being
This
called.
is all the early vote in Rockdale County. Put it in some perspective. Joe Biden
even
won
sure
here
about
by
that.
41. Harris is leading by
Seems too
51
soon,
and a half.
15 minutes in.
The key question here, as the rest of this comes in, is this number receding back to 2020? That's where Republicans want it. Is it stabilizing here? Is it only falling back a tick? That's what Democrats want to have happen. Again, every one of these counties in the core Atlanta area, Democrats want the Harris number to be bigger than the Biden number. They need to squeeze as many votes as they can. And then, if you were watching at the top of the broadcast this evening, there's one county, and it's right here that I singled out. It's Fayette County. This one has remained red, as all these other counties in here have turned blue, but it's been getting close. Now, this is when I say they may be reporting votes out incrementally here. I think we got all the early at once in these other 2 counties. As you can see, this is a very small number, and we know there were a lot more early votes than this cast in Fayette. But Fayette is the one we really want to pay attention to because, again, just putting this in some perspective, this is a
Sola
very
found his car key.
high-income, high-college degree concentration suburb right outside Atlanta, exactly the kind of place where Democrats have been gaining by leaps and strides in the Trump era. Again, just to show you the history. This was 12 years ago, core Republican bedroom community county. Trump comes along. Look at that Republican margin drop. Look at it drop further. Democrats want to be flipping this county tonight. We only have 6%. We need a lot more vote here. But this one we're going to keep looking at because I think it's a test for more broadly how the night might be going for Democrats in Georgia. Just taking a look here, we can go to the far north to seeing what's in. These are the far northern part of the state. This is the most overwhelmingly Republican part of Georgia. So the question for Trump here, he's going to be winning these counties with 75, 80% of the vote. Trump just does not want to have slippage of, 2-3 points even in these places from what he got in 2020. So let's just take a look here. Again, this is relatively small, but this is
Let us
okay.
look.
Trump got
Come on,
81.3.
Oh, he lost a point?
He's at 80.3 right now. This is the early vote from Union County. Remember, one of these things that we saw in Georgia was Republican voters who were very hesitant to vote early, to vote by mail in 2020, really embraced early voting, especially in Georgia, just based on the numbers we were seeing from the early vote process. So look at all the early vote that came in from Union, very different from 4 years ago. And again, if the remaining 15 or so % from Union is more Republican than what's come out, Trump could be hitting that number from 2020. Again, it's not close here, but every one of these counties, they add up. Trump wants to be maintaining the number he got in 2020 because if you multiply this, there's dozens of counties like this around the state. And if Trump's losing a point or two in all of them, that does start to add up statewide. So that's what we're going to be looking for in North Georgia. Sorry, I didn't mean to get out of the state there. Okay, Gwinnett. Let's see what's happening in Gwinnett. This is over 1 million people in Gwinnett. This is like the most racially, ethnically diverse county in Georgia, one of them most in the country. Okay, it's only 1,000 votes. I thought I was setting up for a lot more there. But this is what I mean about it coming in incrementally. So sometimes you swing and you miss. But this is a big one to keep an eye on tonight. Fulton is the biggest in this area. Gwinnett is right behind it here, rapidly growing. You're talking about a third white, a third
1,100
Hispanic,
votes. Don't sell yourself short,
Hispanic,
Bernanke.
a quarter black, about 15% Asian American, very diverse, growing Democratic. So again, we're going to keep an eye here, see what else comes in, and I'll give a shout if we got some more. I'm just clicking. There you go.
Back to the music, okay. I'm shocked that the MR hasn't started. 20 minutes past 7 o'clock right now. Maybe we should tell some MR people to come over here. Okay, no, it's ridiculous. The second we do that, it'll start, and then it'll be idiotic. Don't do it. You see 460? 485 subs. 485? That sounds crazy. Can't possibly be true. No, I only see 460. Where are you seeing 485? Something's askew there. We are getting very close, though. We got 20 this stream. We got 20 yesterday off of my recent clips of the pool cedar debate. With days like this, we only got a couple more days and we'll be at 500. Not that these are necessarily representative of all days. The big ones are going to take the longest. Especially Atlanta. Oh, the majority report's on. Oh shit. Woo! I forgot this was live. I forgot this was live in New York. I can see too much of Bradley. I can see his entire torso. It's off-putting. Usually I can only see like a side of him, like half of his half, and that's, I mean, wow.
Too much, man.
Oh, I forgot to do. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen.
Kamala Harris just retook the lead in Georgia.
Tuesday, still November 5th, 2024.
Kamala Harris just retook the lead in Georgia.
This is the 5-time award-winning Majority Report. We are broadcasting really live. Steps from the industrially ravaged Gowanus Canal in the heartland of America. Tonight on the program, ladies and gentlemen, the other fake Melania.
The other fake Melania? Oh my god, it's her. It's Melania. It's fine, you've already fulfilled your contractual obligations. You don't have to tell them about your abortion stance.
Emma's idea?
That was not my
I love the
idea,
jacket.
guys.
It's a great jacket. Oh shit.
Emma did not want to do that.
Emma nearly destroyed her laptop just now. If it had been that cup instead of that bottle, it would have been a disaster.
Apparently, a rumored fake Melania voted on her behalf in Florida
I don't know if it's true, but who gives a shit?
We're having fun.
We're having fun. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, Matt Leck. Bradley Alsop. Some other guests for you tonight. Some who you're going to be super psyched. Some that might be, frankly, a little controversial. I will just say, Tim Pool will not be here tonight. He is plunging his toilet. Again, apologies.
It is important.
All around.
Proper toilet maintenance is
If you
important.
haven't seen that story,
Now
you can Google it later. So just to let you know what we anticipate tonight.
Hold on one second. I gotta do
It's
something.
going to be a total shit show. And this is, I mean, think of this as a watch party. It's going to start off as a show and then just degrade as the evening goes on. But hopefully we'll end on a positive note. We're going to have in the background one of the major networks, playing.
Sorry,
in the
I'm just trying to reset.
not with audio. Sometimes
This
we'll
is
do
the only way
band,
it's been working
sometimes we'll
for
dip out.
whatever reason recently
We will
in
give you
terms of
updates
stopping
as to
the
what's
lag.
going on.
Is that the Kornacki cam? Oh, thank God.
Folks, good night.
Live Kornacki. Amazing.
Yeah, this could go in a lot of wrong ways.
Come on, Georgia, don't mess up the whole
But
night.
Emma, let's start. Why don't you tell us what we can anticipate? Where are we right now in terms of the polls, closing, and whatnot?
So anybody that's been watching the show, I think, knows that I'm a little bit skeptical about the claims that this is the
Sudden
closest
lag.
race in the history of the country.
I think everybody thought you were going to say completely addicted to predicting markets.
Well,
In the history of the world.
that's part of it. This definitely activates that part of my brain. But I do think that these major national pollsters are really hedging their bets. Like, we've observed this dynamic many times with Republicans and the way that they kind of bully the media, who they may have more liberal inclinations, right? So they get self-conscious about that very fact. So they'll both sides things when they don't need to both sides things. And I think
Is it
right
back?
now, after all of the claims of
I
fraud,
think I
and
fixed it.
baseless garbage from Trump, these pollsters are afraid to come out and maybe make some of these proclamations. They're baking in a core Republican support, shy Trump vote that I just don't think exists anymore. I think we're looking at more of a shy Harris vote, independent or Republican women that are afraid to maybe tell their husbands, that's why that ad hit so close to home, that they're going to the polls and voting for Harris. And some of these pollsters aren't picking up on it. So I've predicted a 7-state, swing state sweep for Harris. Holy shit, I hope I'm right.
Kornacki cam. Trump has retaken the lead in Georgia. But there's only 8% of the vote in, so we have a long way to
The
go.
actual polls close.
So in 2 minutes, North Carolina, Ohio, and West Virginia will close. We already have a lot of states. At 7 p.m., Georgia closed, so we're seeing some of those results come up right there. Indiana, Kentucky, South Carolina, Vermont, and Virginia. Virginia, when Biden was still in the race, Virginia, which is a solid blue state, or should
What
be
is
in
happening?
2024, was actually in play.
Oh my
Thankfully,
God.
that motherfucker dropped out of the race, and Kamala Harris is going to win that one handily. So Georgia's the one that we have to worry about at this moment.
And Bradley, if you could admit.
What is
me to the
happening?
thing. Apparently,
What in the
Donald Trump
fuck?
has already won Kentucky.
Okay.
What in the shit is
We
going on
report,
with the
you
stream?
decide.
Oh my God.
Kamala Harris has won Vermont.
Oh my God. What is happening?
And I think Trump is about to. Oh, he's also the projected winner of Indiana. My people are yes. I mean, no surprise. The big thing, I think, the big shocker.
What in the
of
fuck
course,
is going
will
on?
be Iowa, if that actually happens, and we'll find out. In the meantime, we're watching some
I think it's
congressional races.
like we're literally
to get a
watching
sense
it
of where things might be
decode
going
itself or
relative to
something.
2020 and 2022.
What the
But
fuck?
we're in a tough situation. 2020 was an odd year because, as some of you may know, there was
The George Floyd effect?
the George Floyd effect, and also the once-in-a-lifetime pandemic. 2022 is an off-year election. Democrats came out in big numbers. We will see, but we're going to be watching. Some of the we had Dave Weigel on yesterday, and he gave us some heads up on congressional districts. We're going to be talking about which ones to be watching.
Yeah, the picture's back, thankfully.
through the
All right,
night,
I'll be right
and
back.
we're going to bring it up.
I'm going to
We have a
step into
rotating
my
cast of folks who
office
are going to be coming up.
momentarily.
I'll give you a little
I think I'm leaving
hint
you with,
as to who you might be
in
expecting on this stage.
capable hands. Very capable hands.
Matt Binder,
Wait, Bender?
affectionately known as Old Matt.
Wow, they got all
Francesca
they got all the
Orantini
people.
will be
This is
joining us.
momentous.
We're going to hear from Digby, and like I say, some surprise guests, some of whom, again, you guys are going to be super psyched. One or two, maybe a little controversial. We'll hold off on that for the time being. Also, you will notice right in front of us, there is we forgot to set that thing up too. We'll do that. This will maybe keep track of the Electoral College. As of now, it's not. But this whiteboard in front here, and if you can't see it, feel free, take your time. One point over the course of the evening, a lot of people, if you want to get up and stretch at any point, do not hesitate. It's going to be a long night, maybe 2 weeks. We will have to leave closer to midnight, but don't hesitate to get up, stretch your legs, head out in the front. If you have to go to the bathroom, feel free. But this right here has an email address. Now, it's a secret email address, so I'm not going to say it out there because we are broadcasting live to the rest of the country, care of
Sunset Lake.
Sunset Lake, Sebede.com.
Favorite sponsor.
They're one of our sponsors tonight. I will mention that in a moment. But as I explain this, there's an email address right there. And what you can do, because we want to take calls, but from you folks. So, yes, thank you. That was the appropriate response. So, if you're over in this section, you are the C section. Doesn't mean anything.
Communism.
If you're over in this section, you're the A section. Antifa?
Yeah.
And if you're in the B section, here in the middle,
Bernie
you're just
Bros.
in the B section.
Bernie Bros.
But what you do is you email us, say your name, your first name, and what color your shirt is, and then we will call you, pick you out of the queue to ask a question. We'll do this over the course of the night. Feel free to email in there. There is a free Wi-Fi entitled something free, I don't know, Wi-Fi.
Okay.
But let me just tell you a little bit about who's sponsoring us tonight. You're going to hear from about them multiple times. Sponsoring the live coverage, the live video feed of tonight's show, Sunset Lake, Sebede.com. I don't know if folks understand why we say Sebede. It's because some of our publishers have an issue with saying a series of letters in the alphabet in the way that they're meant to be. And so I say Sebede, and they're...
And sometimes a little terse.
Exactly. But Sunset Lake, use the coupon code LEFTISBEST. You will get 20% off. For every order placed tonight with the Left is Best code, Sunset Lake is going to donate $5 to UNRWA. That's the United Nations Relief and Works Agency for Palestine. That is, tonight, all of your purchases will contribute to a donation. The donations will be split between Gaza and Lebanon's emergency appeal funds. And I should say, separately, we're going to be donating also to some Gaza relief funds. And at one point, we're going to put up the bakery from the family that we had introduced you to. We've been making food for other Gazans. But we'll do that a little bit later. But here's how it works. If you visit sunsetlakesebede.com tonight, place an order with Left is Best code. You'll save 20% on your entire order. Sunset Lake will donate $5 from each sale to UNRWA. It doesn't matter what you get, sleep gummies, fudge, tinctures, smokables, whatever it is, even one of their stylish hats. $5 from every order will go to families in need. I got to get up early tomorrow morning. The way I go to sleep now is either the tincture, the Goodnight oil, or the Goodnight gummies, which are new without melatonin. You can get ones with melatonin. It's been a really great product. I forgot to put my Solve on. I have eczema. We don't need to talk about it. Sunset Lake Sebede is a majority employee-owned hemp farm. Pays a minimum wage of $20 an hour. They carry a full lineup of products that help you sleep, relax, and better manage pain. Again, tonight only, head over to sunsetlakesebede.com. Use the code LEFTISBEST, all one word. Save 20% off and raise money for Palestinian and Lebanese families in need. And also, sponsoring the show tonight, and you can get their coffee here at the Bell House. Right. When you order it, you will be getting the Majority Report blend. Just Coffee has supported this program since day one. In fact, even when this program was not even a fetus, back when we were Break Room Live with Mark Maron, this coffee company, JustCoffee.coop, supported us. They're a co-op in Madison. You hear about businesses having values. Most of those values suck. For JustCoffee.coop, you are supporting a company that is a co-op. It supports democracy in the workplace. It also supports its growers in a way that no other coffee roaster does. If their farms are in trouble, they help them out. Just Coffee is a B Corp, and the ingredients, just one ingredient, that is organic coffee.
I moved the Kornacki cam.
They have single origin. They have something like the Majority Report blend. And you can check out their coffee tracker. Customers can plug in the 5-digit code on the bottom of the bag. This one is 42125. And you can see exactly who and where their coffee was grown, how much it was purchased for. Check them out. Great company. I've said this before a bunch of times, but I just remember when these guys came out, gave free coffee to marchers in Madison, Wisconsin. I'll never forget. It was freezing cold, and they're just handing out coffee to people who are marching against Scott Walker. Just a great B Corp. Check them out. All right, so I guess an update with what we got.
Yeah.
Should we tune in and see what we got from Kornacki right now? Or
get in there.
Let's do that.
There's not a ton of results
We need to know
right
what's happening
now.
with Kornacki.
As we mentioned, Kamala's won Vermont as expected. Indiana, Kentucky, and West Virginia have all been called for Trump. Jim Justice is also going to, unsurprisingly, end up being the senator that replaces Joe Manchin. So that's part of why the Democrats' chances in this cycle for the Senate are a little bit more difficult. But as you all know, pay attention to Montana, pay attention to Dan Osborne in Nebraska, an actual independent, not a corporate hack like Joe Manchin. So that's the kind of stuff that we're paying attention to right now.
As of now, with Manchin losing, or I should say Jim Justice winning, Manchin exiting, the Senate is effectively
Republican.
All right, everyone.
is effectively
I know you all are
Republican.
enjoying this, but
Possible pickups,
I
like
think
Emma says,
I might
in Nebraska.
take that break.
All red
I
in
forgot they were doing the
Texas.
live show. Not gonna lie, I forgot this was today. Like the live.
You can say her name.
I feel
doesn't
bad.
look
I feel
so
like I'm letting
great
you all
right
down,
now.
but I will stream again later tonight, probably
Don't
around
know
my
that there's
normal
really
time.
any other potential pickups.
Or like just
But
start back up when they end, essentially. But I'm probably gonna
we
be
gotta
watching
watch
live.
Brown.
Be watching Majority Report.
Where is
I think that's my plan right now.
To
Maybe
maybe get knocked off.
edit a couple things while I'm
There's some
doing that.
questions in Pennsylvania, but I think that's unlikely.
Not that I'm not enjoying hanging out with you
Anywhere else, I
all
think
and
that
doing
people
this,
really
but
have to be concerned
Tammy
about.
Baldwin in Wisconsin.
just like 10